this team's got a great foundation, and it's only getting better.
It's coming to a point now where if the Mets don't at least win a pennant, I'm going to be very disappointed.
It takes one hit with some of these guys, and then boom, they go off.
Yeah, this is the Mets. I don't know. I'm not afraid of anyone.
Exactly. This is the Mets.
If Jimmy Robinson's like, hey, Buck, I want an elephant. You get him an elephant, all right? Because
wow, look at this new Mets way. This is awesome. Wow, and hello, everybody, and welcome to an off-season edition of the Mets Way. I am Jared Freshface Levison. Accompanying me is, of course, New Hampshire's only Mets fan, Josh Shaw, and Jimmy Hot Takes Nolan. I went with the off-season shave. Jimmy's decided to grow his out, and it was actually funny watching in that intro clip that you were clean-shaven for most of the year, and I had the full beard. Josh has stayed the same. But now my facial hair is gone. But yeah, it's nice being back and seeing you guys again and being able to talk some Mets.
Yeah, Steady Eddie.
What'd you say, Yeti?
I'm steady. I guess we could go with that too. Yeah, steady Yeti. Like the facial hair is always about the same length. We never go too crazy. After like 2 weeks, I'm like, so I gotta trim it down.
Word. Well,
Josh, if the Mets did go far, would you grow it out?
No, because I don't want to look like a homeless man, which is what it looks like because my hair is curly. So it's just a real mess.
So you're saying
in the same boat.
So you're saying if we weren't in the World Series right now, you would have actually shaved your beard. You wouldn't be like everyone else and grew out a playoff beard.
I mean, I'm not silly enough to think my beard is going to impact the Mets play. If it did, I feel like I would have just grown it out the entire season. So I'm just content with like, hey, what happens, happens at this point. I have enough superstitions going on with the Mets. So
Word. I mean, I think it's been a hard playoffs to watch, especially with the teams that have been advancing. But I think I know I myself have really tried to remove myself from the Mets and not remove myself, but, just kind of reset and process this season. And I think that's a little bit what we're going to do today. We're going to be giving out some season awards chosen by, us three hosts. Talk a little bit about, the upcoming free agency and the Mets offseason, which, is a pretty big and important one for this team. And I know we all have a bunch of different opinions and are very passionate about those opinions. And there's going to be a lot of episodes to come that focus on all of those. So yeah, it should be a pretty good offseason. But I do want to start. I mean, let's just talk about the MLB playoffs. I mean, we could not have asked for a worse championship series with the 4 teams that were in it. And the World Series, I mean, and then, of course, the World Series isn't going to be an easy choice to root for anyway, but we got the Philadelphia Phillies and we got the Houston Astros. And as Met fans, as, at least for Jimmy and I, people from New York or from the tri-state area, like, who are you going to root for? Are you rooting for the Phillies, who we beat up all year? And, like, if we played them in the playoffs, who knows where we would have been? Or are we going to root for the Astros, who are cheaters? Like, what are you guys doing?
Jimmy, go ahead. You probably feel more passionate about this than I do.
I don't know. Rooting for the Houston over the Yankees was pretty obvious just because, I was actually going to root for the Yankees too. Like, going into this season, I was right in for the Yanks Go Yard site. And I was like, you know what? The Yankees are maybe not my number 2, but I'm not going to hate on them as much this year. And then everybody was shitting on the Mets. So I was like, you know what? It's Mets versus the world. So, I mean, Houston was easy to root for against the Yankees. Phillies versus Houston, I mean, it's still a little sticky because Houston did cheat. And as a baseball fan, screw Houston. And as a Mets fan, you hate the Phillies. But, I'd rather the Phillies win than the Braves, especially after this year, the NL Championship Series. So that was nice. Honestly, I think I'm going to go Houston just because I like Justin Verlander and I appreciate greatness. So I'm just going to – I'm going to be rooting for Verlander.
You don't appreciate Bryce Harper's greatness?
I love Bryce Harper. He's been going off, too. And I like – another thing, too, I was listening to Tiki and Tierney today, and they think that one of the reasons for Judge's like collapse in the postseason was he played like 157 games, and then they pointed out like Bryce Harper played like 97 or 99 games. He's having a tear. I mean, it could be a thing. I don't know, but I don't know. He's just showing why he got all that money from Philadelphia. I mean, I don't know. He's just showing up on the big stage. That's the best way to put it.
So for me, this hasn't been very hard. It's like, do I want 3 NL East teams to win the World Series in 4 years and not one of them be the Mets? A crap ton of just like, the Mets can't win, the Phillies, the Nationals, the Braves, no, I don't. I simply don't want to hear it. I would be so annoyed. I'd be so tired of it. And next season would just be hell if I had to hear about the 89 and 73 Philadelphia Phillies as the world champions. So I hear what everyone's saying about Houston. I agree with it somewhat. But we're 3 years removed from the cheating, or not even. We're like 5 now because that was 17. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, they're super good guys because, they're not. But I can't take away how impressive what they've done is to lose Carlos Correa and a handful of other players that they have throughout these last couple of years and still be here, if not better, and just sweep the Yankees. It's incredibly impressive. And I guess if you don't want to take that into account, I'm rooting for the Astros just because I'd like to see Dusty Baker get a ring. Give me Dusty, Justy, Michael Brantley. Let's get an untainted ring for these fellas. They've earned it. They've had great careers. Get that resume a little padded before they go to the Hall of Fame, and let's just be happy.
Word. Okay, I like that. And I think that also goes to, appreciating greatness. I mean, it's their 5th World Series, right? The last couple of years. Like, that's just that consistent success in baseball it's pretty cool to see, like, them being such a consistent name. Yeah, I don't know where I stand on this. I mean, I live an hour from Philadelphia, so I get both channels. I get all the Philly stations, I get all the New York stations. And one of the sites I write for is based out of Philly, so I'm connected and I'm in like Philly's Twitter like that way because of all the people I work with and like follow and interview and talk to. Like, they're all Philly fans. Like, it's all Philly all the time. So that's makes it a little. I mean, one part of me is like, God, I like hate seeing all this stuff because I know how bad we beat up on them all year. Like, what was our record against them? Didn't we lose them, like 4 or 5 times?
12-5. Yep.
12-5. And some of our best wins, like our most fun wins, combined no-hitter, like 7-1 9th inning comeback.
Yeah,
Mark Canna game. Like,
yeah.
Nick Plummer, Super Mario, Jeff McNeil hitting a go-ahead home run. I think that was in the same game, like all against the Phillies. So it's a little painful knowing that probably if we won the NL East, we would have been playing the Phillies, and who knows how that series would have gone by then. Maybe we would have lost to them. But then you also see Zach Wheeler's on that rotation. Noah Syndergaard is contributing. Yeah, it's you see some old faces and whatnot, but yeah, Josh, I think what you're going with, I don't want to hear about the 89 and whatever Phillies who came in 3rd place.
I will be so tired of it, Jared, the second it happens. I'm already tired of it. Like,
Yeah.
This is the worst case scenario for me, not to overtake you real quick, but like
You're
the
good.
2 GMs I hate the most in baseball are AJ Pro and Dave Dombrowski. So the fact both of them like, look at us, we did it. It's like, shut up. You guys,
Dude, you have no idea what my Twitter feed is like. It is just like everyone's tweeting like, grease the poles, grease them. Everyone on Broad Street like piling out, and like it honestly, like it looks fun, dude. It looks really fun.
It looks super great to destroy your own city because you're happy. Where's the logic? And when Vancouver did it against the 2011 Stanley Cup Finals, I was like, hey, you guys are upset. You're in your feelings. I can kind of understand that. But your team won. Why are you destroying your city, fellas?
Well, it happened to the Lakers too. I mean, if who knows how rowdy a Mets World Series parade would have been, or I don't think no one would have ran into the streets to win a championship series and get to the World Series. That's no one's really talking about that either. Like, it's a little like you're really filling the streets and greasing poles and stopping traffic because you want a pennant.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, we got a 50-50 chance. It's like, yeah.
I mean,
just to lose.
I wish I was there. I know we all wish we could have been there, but nobody is. I don't know. Good for them. But yeah, I guess I'll root for the Astros. I like Alex Bregman a lot. He's a good player. And Yordan Alvarez. He's a beast. He's a beast. But the Phillies, I mean, besides being a rival, like objectively, they're a fun team to watch and fun team to root for. They had some cool moments. It's hard.
I think they're gonna win.
Yeah. Is that
Just 'cause,
Doomer?
like-
Is that Doomer Josh or objective Josh?
I told you guys, he's not leaving till spring training, so he's still here. But it is also more of a like, I don't know, just feels like it's fated for that to kind of happen. And the other part of it is just like, it just really feels like the 2019 Nationals again. This NL East team that comes out of nowhere. If Grisham plays that ball correctly in Nationals Park, if the Cardinals don't crap themselves in the ninth inning of game one, are we even here? I don't know, but we are because of those things in part. So I just feel like it's a team of destiny sort of thing, honestly.
Guys, imagine if we got Kyle Schwarber instead of trusting JD Davis and Dom Smith. Has that run through your guys' mind at all?
I didn't even think about that until now, but
No, it
I don't
hasn't
know.
actually.
Schwarber's hit or miss sometimes for me.
I mean,
Like,
He's got 220 batting average. Come on. Hold
Yeah.
on. Let's not. Come on.
hit what, like 36 home runs this year? 40 maybe?
That's awesome.
45, 44 home runs?
He is a beast, though. He fits well in that lineup because that lineup, it's got a bunch of 300 hitters. So even JT Realmuto, their catcher, hits 270. Like, it's just, they got a stacked lineup and like even the front two guys in the rotation. They just got a good team.
Second highest payroll in baseball behind us.
Yeah.
They got them beat by 30 million if you're gonna go for the 26-man payroll.
And they have way more wins. Oh my god.
The pain. See, now when I remember when you go back to the intro and I'm like, because it's the Mets. It's exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah. And what sucks too, it's like the Phillies, like, yeah, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, granted, 2 elite pitchers. But DeGrom and Scherzer, man, those guys are. Scherzer's already a first ballot Hall of Famer.
We gotta stop. We're gonna be here all night crying if we don't like go to the end of the awards now.
He let us down. He laid an egg in the one spot he couldn't lay an egg. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Call him the Easter Bunny.
Okay. Well, now that we any other pain you guys want to get out of there, or so Houston, undecided, but probably Houston just because I can't. It's in division. I can't really switch. I can't switch up like that. But whoever wins, it's a great story. I think they're the story alone. I think you could justify rooting for Philly a little bit, but it's a little different being from New York, just from the tri-state. Okay, now since we have 110 days and 5 hours, 9 minutes and 36 seconds, and yes, that's a live clock till spring training begins. In those 110 days, the New York Mets have quite a bit of free agents and quite a lot of moves to be made, and we got a lot of money to spend. So, and our payroll currently is at, for the 26-man roster, $199,274,999. And the total payroll is around $219 million. That's 2023, like total, the combined payroll of salaries of all players active, injured, or on the reserve list. So, how high should this payroll get? Should there be a limit? Like, or should we just become the new Yankees as James really wants us to be? Like, what's the deal here?
I don't want us to be the new Yankees where we spend stupidly.
Yeah, because that's what you've been saying. You're like, yeah, we'll just sign Judge or Turner or Nimmo or
just get them all.
That's the thing, though. Like the Yankees, they went out and they re-signed Anthony Rizzo, who is just like a little bit worse version of Kyle Schwarber. He still hits 220, hits less home runs, less RBIs, and then Stanton, who can't even play the outfield. they trade for him. That was just kind of a stupid move.
Hits home runs though.
He does hit home runs, but he strikes out a lot. And the Yankees struck out 30 times their first 2 games. So I think Trey Turner's a guy who doesn't strike out a lot. I'm off the Judge train. I'd rather let Aaron Judge walk somewhere else, but I'm all aboard the Trey Turner train.
Whoa.
This is character development, Jimmy. I'm proud of you.
Wait. So we have one question. It's like, do we need an A-level player? And Judge is on that list.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you want Judge anymore?
I just think if we're going to go out there and we're going to spend money, I'd rather us spend money on Trey Turner than Judge, because I feel like, one, McNeil can get moved to left or play DH or Canna, vice versa. I just think that would be, that's just something you do. I'd rather have that than bring in Judge, and then that means we don't bring back Nimmo. And Nimmo was a huge part of our successful season this year. If you take him off this team, you probably take away 5 or 10 wins at least. So we wouldn't even be fighting for the division with the Braves without Brandon Nimmo. So I think Nimmo, just his importance to the team, and Judge, he does strike out a lot. I'll admit it. He does. And this Mets lineup, they don't strike out a lot. And I kind of want to keep that not striking out a lot thing, because, the best teams in baseball, that's what they do. Houston Astros, look at them. They don't strike out a lot. I just think we need to build our own blueprint. I was talking about it on my own podcast, and I think, we don't need to necessarily copy the Dodgers, copy Houston, copy the Phillies. We just need to follow our own blueprint. So just trust Billy Epplish, or trust himself. If you don't think you should bring back DeGrom for a certain amount of money, then whatever. But, at the end of the day, I think you look at this team, they got what it takes. They're a few pieces away from being a World Series contender. They were this year. They just didn't make it out of the wild card round, unfortunately. So I would set the payroll, though, around I would say, honestly, $350 million. Cohen, he said he doesn't care about the luxury tax penalties. I know we lose a first and a second round draft pick, I think. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you lose a first and a second, but you acquire Trey Turner, right? You still have Brett Beatty, who's a very good prospect. He's coming up. He'll be here. Probably he's going to be on the MLB roster next season.
He is. There's no way.
Yeah. So, we still got him. And at the end of the day, we're playing to win at the MLB level. And Trey Turner would help us win at the MLB level. So that's why I think you set that payroll at $350 million, because we only got 2 years of Scherzer left, and we don't want to waste that contract.
We're not. I can't do the Trey Turner thing now, because we will be here for the next 20 minutes talking about Trey Turner.
We'll just talk about payroll. Let's talk about the payroll.
Okay, all right. We'll just talk about. I'm sorry. It's just I love Trey Turner, so me having to be I don't want him. Really, it's like when you see a puppy at Petco or whatever. You're like, wow, what a cute dog. And it's I got 2 at the house, so it kind of makes sense to get a third. But payroll. I should say this. I am not opposed to the concept of a massive payroll. To be a winner in today's baseball, you have to be willing to pay for it. 7 of the highest paid teams in baseball made the playoffs, and 4 of them won their division. Just how it is. So before I weigh in on my thing here, I support it. It's smart. It's the right way to do it. I'm not in favor of Moneyball. This is New York. It's not Cleveland or Oakland. It's New York. We got to reflect that. All of that said, what I am opposed to in regards to a massive payroll, and what I think some fans are forgetting, is the whole reason why you'd have one. The reason why most teams have the highest payroll is that they have some of the most expensive players in baseball. And that's not a bad thing, but Mets fans know that anyone you sign in free agency isn't always the player that shows up in April or the regular season or whatever. I present to you Jed Lowry, Woofa. I say Jason Bay. I say Oliver Perez. The list can keep on going here. I'll even throw Rob Scano in there. I know he didn't sign it, but we traded for him because we thought, it's a big contract, but, it'll be fine. It wasn't. He's still making $20 million, by the way, Rob Scano, just this year. So also just want to throw that out there. Thanks.
That bag.
Thanks, Brody. He sucks. And if the players aren't the person you signed them to be, teams are left with that mistake on their books for 7, 8, 9, or 10 years. For example, here are the highest salary baseball players in baseball right now. Max Scherzer, number one. I love him. He's really great. We'll talk about him more later. But we paid him $43 million to get shelled, and there's no guarantee he'll age gracefully. Over his last 3 starts, he looked bad. He's going to be 38 next year. So that's tough. We got, if he's bad this year and really bad, guess what? We got him next year too. Probably even worse. So that's cool. Number 2 on the list, Anthony Rendon. He has a 779 OPS since joining the Angels. It will make $38 million until 2026.
He was great on the Nationals, man. He was so good.
Case in point, he was great on the Nationals.
He was so good.
Number 3, Mike Trout. I love him too. I love Mike Trout, but he's played 155 games since 2020. He's 31. He's about to make $37 until he's 38. Now we're going to skip ahead to number 8, Steven Strasburg.
Oh,
We all kind of know what happened there. But do we all know he's making $35 million until 2026? He's on the payroll for 3 more seasons after this, so that's cool. Number 5, we're just going to go to some other guys in the top 20 right now in highest paid salary in the MLB. Giancarlo Stanton. He's on the Yankees till he's 38. Chris Bryant. I mean, I think he's played fine. He's played pretty good, but he's on an awful team, so it doesn't matter. And also Chris Sale. No one knows what's happened with him anymore.
I was waiting for Chris Sale to come up.
So I guess what I'm trying to get at is that free agency is a dangerous place to live. And if you don't sign the right guy, he's not leaving your team anytime soon, and his contract's not going to magically disappear. That player will be on your books, be 1 of 26, and the only way to get rid of him, if he's bad, is to attach presumably high-level prospect in a trade to then dump him. And where I come down on this is that there's not enough players right now in this free agent class, at least position players, that fit this team or deserve the amount of money they're probably going to get. So I would leave the payroll at like 275. That gives you enough room that if you make some cuts, I think Dom Smith is an easy cut. He's worth $4 million in arbitration. There you go. Attach a mid-level prospect with James McCann to a rebuilding team. Do smart things to just get rid of some easy money and go from there. But I think 275 is probably the right amount of money given where we're at currently, and also a DeGrom, a Nimmo, whoever you want to throw in there, the bunch of the Mets have to re-sign or bring in. So that's where I'm at.
So you're saying if we would sign, if in the amazing ideal world where Nimmo, Diaz, and DeGrom all come back, we'd be at around 275 with DeGrom getting over, $43.3 million a year.
Right. Which is why I think the Mets have to be a little careful here and also make some smart moves like a McCann dumping. I also love Eduardo Escobar and Mark Canha, but that's, I think, $25+ million on the payroll right there between the two of them. So don't get rid of them, but the Mets might have to go higher this year, I think, but I don't know. 350 is so high that I just worry you're signing a lot of guys to a lot of big contracts that the hit rate isn't great. I mean, look at the Mets free agent class this year, honestly. Escobar wasn't good to September. We can say that Marte was great. Scherzer, yes and no. The
Canha
returns weren't. Canha was pretty good for Mark Canha, but he wasn't a world beater for, I would say, which is fine.
I mean, his on base percentage was great. I mean, he's the reason why we got hit by so many pitches. Like, that man would never get out of the zone. Like,
we should name him Jesus because he took the hits for us.
He did. He gave no fucks. And he was solid. He was good defensively in left field. I always felt
he won us a
confident with him
couple
there.
games, a lot of big hits too. Clutch.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I think he's making what, $12.5 million?
But that's like
it's a veteran.
Yeah,
like,
you keep him. It all adds up is kind of what I'm getting at.
mm-hmm. Okay, that's fair. I mean, I'm definitely on the side of I'd rather not spend too much, especially because I know we have guys like Alvarez and Beatty coming up who, are so highly touted that they are going to contribute, and I really believe they do. And from the really small sample size, we got a Beatty and Alvarez this year at the pro level. I mean, I think these guys could be pretty legit, and especially Beatty. I mean, that his swing is like so pure, and like he's like what 6'6". He can play third base. Like his defense only going to get better. Like he's 20 years old, or like 21, 22. Alvarez is only 20. Can't have a legal sip of alcohol yet. He's gonna learn so much from Nito and probably and from McCann. Like it's gonna be, who knows? And I'm really surprised that you said you want to get rid of James McCann.
Look,
Josh.
It hurts me a lot to say it.
McCann Stan.
I'm a McStan.
McStan.
That man is not worth $10 million. And if Alvarez is going to be the opening day payroll or opening day roster, I'm not carrying 3 catchers. And Nito has at least shown enough defensively. I mean, just Gold Glove finalist, for God's sake, that if any of the 2 catchers from this year should be here next year, it is Nito.
Hell yeah. Hell and freaking yeah.
Dude, not for nothing, but sorry to cut you off real quick. But Nito down the stretch in the second half, he hit like 250, 260. So he might be a decent catcher, especially. I love that rotation of him and catching rotation of him and Alvarez next year.
He had, I think I saw today on reference when we were, well, after this, I guess we'll just go into some team awards, right? Why not? But I was like, looking at the different, categories we had and whatnot. And I think Nito was like first in Major League Baseball on like sacrifice hits or like sacrifice bunts or something like that. Like, that was awesome.
What is it with our players just being like, Jesus, we got McCann or Canna taking the hits. He's just dying for us at the cost. And we have Nito just being like, I'll sacrifice myself.
It's the culture, man. No ego on this team. It's something.
I love it.
It's beautiful. But anyway, team awards. Thought a little idea, kind of reminisce a little about the season. Give some credit where credit is due. Yeah. So I guess James, you have all the stuff set up and all of our lists. I guess we'll start with what, MVP? Or maybe, where should we start? Or should we build up to MVP?
Yeah, we could build up to MVP, whatever you guys want to do.
So maybe let's start with Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Yeah. I got a good one for this. So whenever you guys are ready.
Yeah, all right. I'm just going to pull them up real quick.
Jared, why don't you go first? Me and Jimmy just talked about payroll. I got to hear some takes.
All right. So my Rookie of the Year, I kind of just gave it away, but it's Brett Beatty.
Wow.
Limited sample size, I said, of course. But I don't know, just that moment of, first swing and first game against the Braves in Atlanta, hitting a home run. Welcome to the show. Like, come on. I mean, this kid's gonna be a stud for the rest of the season. He's gonna be our third baseman. Like, it's exciting, dude. And obviously it's kind of limited from what we saw from him. And afterwards he kind of did, he didn't hit another home run after that. I don't even know if he got an extra base hit. But just for his potential, his ceiling, and the one shining moment he did have, I'm gonna give it to Brett Beatty because he actually was a rookie. So, yeah.
My bad, Josh.
No, go.
Yeah, I couldn't find my Rookie of the Year overlay in these files, so that's the one overlay we're not going to get, unfortunately. But
they're rookies.
I mean, there's like 3 guys worth it, so like it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and they're rookies, so they got to earn it. They got to earn.
Yeah, they got to earn it.
But yeah, I'm gonna go Beatty. I love Josh's. I can't wait for him to say his. But yeah, I mean, Jared, you said it best. I can't wait to see him. 6'6", tall, beautiful swing, and every time he made contact, even when he did get out, they were hard outs. So I'm excited for that kid next season.
Tall, handsome.
My pick.
Great hair.
I describe Jared to a lot of people. I'm like tall, handsome, great hair.
Just gotta stop chopping it off.
My pick. This is a doozy. It's Colin Holderman.
Whoa.
Just because he got us Daniel Vogelbach, and the memes that the Mets community has gotten out of Vogelbach and the jokes are worth it, even if he didn't play that great. All right. So Colin Holderman, you're my pick. Come on down, collect that award from Pittsburgh. There's really no other good options. It's like, man, I like Alvarez's one swing. I like Beatty's 3 swings. It's like, all right, well, unless you go like a Jose Budo, I guess it's got to be him, or like, I don't know.
Oh, I just thought of a great one. That was great, Colin Holderman. That was really good. But the guy who came in that crazy Phillies game,
oh,
he was like working at a bank as a teller. and then like flew to the Mets like the day afterwards
A lefty. Yeah. Oh no, what is
and
his
pitched like
name?
an inning of relief. Ah, no, I think it was like 2 innings.
I'm going right now.
That was Colin Holderman, though. I mean, he was actually having a very impressive season in relief. I think we were all a little shocked to see him go, or a little upset, because he was one of our more reliable arms. But how's a sneaky one, Josh? That's
I got it. It's Nate Fisher.
Nate Fisher. Yeah, he could. He's honorable mention rookie of the year. That
Yeah,
story
his
was
3
awesome.
innings. Yeah.
3 innings. It was 3. Oh my gosh!
It was 3 innings pitched in 1 game.
Wow. And he was literally like working at a bank. He had like a full other job. It's like going to the local, little league park after work and like throwing a couple pitches. Freaking awesome. All right. Next up, let's do most improved.
So I went with Francisco Lindor. I guess we do like a snake order. So like I'll go last and whatever. I went with Lindor. All right. It's just it's an easy pick for me. The guy was a giant question mark coming into the season. We were worried about the grossly overpaid contract. He earned it. Let's call it what it is. He was great this year. Second on the team in RBI, one of the best single seasons by a Mets shortstop in history. I don't know how much better you can get from a 220, 240 average to a 270 or 260, 270. So in a plus OPS. So
Solid. He definitely improved a lot from last year. I mean, Jimmy. Oh, okay, cool. Very cool. All right, so James, you also went Francisco Lindor. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I think I was between really Lindor and Nimmo. Nimmo, the only reason I was going to go with him because just the improvement of being able to stay on the field. Just the consistency. I think he had like 140 something games this year. So just seeing that, him being able to stay on the field was great. But I went with Lindor because kind of like what Josh said, he needed this season just to show that, he can play in New York. It's not a thing where, some players, they come here and they struggle and it's like, oh, the lights are too bright for him. Well, I think Lindor, he showed us even in that one in game 2 of the wild card, like, okay, he can do this. He can be our shortstop, even though it's a big contract. He's looking like he's going to own it.
Awesome. And I was actually in between Brandon Nimmo and Thomas Nito. Nito just because it was one of his best. What? I mean, it wasn't great.
You're just such a Nito fan. Like, it's fine. I mean, I'm a Mets fan, so I'm
he got a Gold Glove nomination. What are you talking about? But I chose Brandon Nimmo.
Yeah.
I chose Brandon Nimmo. I mean, yeah, he actually stayed healthy for a full year. It was his best season since 2018. Slash 274, 367, 433 at 16 home runs, 64 RBIs, like 5.4 Fangraphs WAR, F4, whatever. But I mean, just the defensive improvement we saw from him in center field. That crazy catch he had against Justin Turner and the Los Angeles Dodgers, which is a super memorable moment, I think, for all Mets fans this season. And he's such just how he carries himself on the field, off the field. And just to see him really take that big of a leap and really become a legitimate center fielder in Major League Baseball, I think he deserves most improved player. All right. Let's do breakout star next. Yeah, breakout star.
You got Jared. You're going first.
I got Francisco Lindor, pretty much for all the same reasons. I mean, he showed that he could break out. He had a breakout season. Showed he could play in New York. I mean, it's that simple. Most improved too. I mean, we kind of already knew he had all the skills. That's why I didn't want to put him in most improved, just because we knew he always had that in him. It was just whether or not he could mentally, I guess, do it. So I'm gonna go with Lindor. Oh, okay. Josh, we got All right, James to Brandon Nimmo. Okay, interesting. Josh had Edwin Diaz. Okay.
Yeah, with Diaz, it's kind of like, what else am I gonna say? Best closer in baseball, probably gonna get the richest contract by a closer in MLB history this offseason. Like the fact Timmy Trumpets took over America, I feel like we're not talking about that part enough. That like every single sports thing or anything you go to now, you're gonna hear Narco.
You mean ruined the Mets season?
Jerry Seinfeld joined the show. I didn't see him pop in. My bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if it ruined the season because Diaz barely pitched towards the end. We couldn't get him a lead.
They should have just saved the trumpets for the playoffs. Should have just saved.
Or maybe the Mets should hit the ball in the playoffs. I don't know. That might be more at fault. Than,
No, it's all Timmy Trumpet. It's all Timmy Trumpet.
Great. I'm a little annoyed with Narco now. It is kind of like, guys, you're stealing it. Let's just let it go. It's our thing. But, whatever. But Diaz, just a dog, just a real menace out there. So breakout player of the year. I think just everything he did to strike out nearly half of all batters faced, if not more than that. What else are you going to say?
Got no issues with that.
Yeah, I went with Nimmo, but I think it's the reason why I was going to choose him for most improved. Like you said, Jared, staying on the field, it was huge for him this year. And it just allowed, I think, not only, Mets fans, but I think, the MLB fans as a whole to realize, like, Brandon Nimmo is a very, very good player in this league. Defensively and offensively, one of the best leadoff hitters in the game.
Awesome. I think those were all, I'm actually surprised there's not like as much overlap. And we were actually thinking about all of these awards in a little different way. Let's do best new addition next. So who went first last time? That was me, right?
Yeah. So I'll go here, I suppose. It's Starling Marte.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to go back to excuse corner on Pity Avenue, but the Mets went 16-11 after Marte got hurt and scored 3 runs or fewer 9 times. Not great. What he did for the team in the addition in the field was just fantastic. Second in average, third in OPS and OPS plus, fifth in RBIs and home runs and total bases. And he's the sexiest guy on the team. I just got to give it to him.
Also an all-star. Josh, you pretty much just said it. That's Starling Marte. Him getting injured really, I think, was a turning point. And when this Met team offensively really started to decline, I'm really surprised none of you had Darren Ruff as your choice for best new addition up there.
I wanted to. I just didn't want to I thought we were all going to say it, so I wanted to try and break the mold and do something different.
Wow, we appreciate you for going against the grain. But James, you said Max Scherzer. I'm a little surprised by that.
Yeah, considering you want to run him out of town after game 1, I'm shocked.
I was very pissed off at him after game 1 because I thought we were, that one Atlanta start was just a blur because before that we saw him only let up 1 run in 6 innings against Oakland and throw 6 perfect innings against Milwaukee. So, in Scherzer, the reason I went with him as the best new addition was not only because of, the performances that he did have, because at the end of the day, at the end of the year, he kind of got shelled in important games, but at the end of the day, 11-5, 2.29 ERA, best ERA he's ever had. And, 145 innings. So hopefully he can get it above a 150 next year, maybe even to the 200 again. But I'm not expecting anything crazy out of Scherzer next year. Probably just 180 innings, I think, is doable. And it'll get the job done for a veteran like him. But the reason I went with him was more not even because of his pitching. It was because of the impact he had in the locker room and the dugout. I think he just brings a lot of that winning attitude and the winning mentality, and just it rubs off on a lot of the guys. Whereas, Max Scherzer's taking a start against the Oakland A's at the end of the year, so just as much serious as start against the Atlanta Braves. So just him making every game important, I think, just rubs off on a lot of the young players on this roster, like Pete Alonso and Nimmo, Lindor, even Diaz, and I just think it was a huge addition for the Mets.
Yeah, not even what he does for games against the A's. He treats the games like the A's like it's Game 7 of the World Series, but he treated his rehab start in Binghamton with the Rumble Ponies the same exact way. Freaking psychopath. And
then buying them all dinner.
I
Yeah,
wish he
Vine
started
went
the
there.
game 1 of the Padres like it was the game 7 of the World Series, though. I'll be honest. I wish he took that approach on that one. But
Pressure isn't a problem; it's a privilege.
Jimmy, when you sent them to the group chat, I almost wanted to yell at you, but I didn't want to be mean.
He's
But it's just like,
in.
what a stupid thing to say. It's like you can say that when the game's over and if you pitch well, but otherwise you're just like pressure's a privilege and I didn't earn it. It's like, shut up. Don't
You know what
put
it
that
was?
on yourself.
It was his eyes. It's always his eyes. And it was just like, you know what? This is it. This is it. It's these Mets. It's Max Scherzer.
Those Mets now.
Yep.
Those Mets now.
Don't upset me again.
Anyway, it's like, I don't even want to bring myself back to how angry I was after that game 1, dude. And just like, really? We get this guy and we ruin him too? Whatever. All right. All right. So we did Rookie of the Year. We did Most Improved. We did Breakout. We did Best New Addition. Let's bring it to Gold Glove. Who had the best defensive hands this year on the New York Mets? Wow. Two of you took Brandon Nimmo. You guys are betrayers, dude. You also,
okay.
I think you also could have included Nito in this as well. I hope you guys
one of the
considered
only
him.
finalists.
I'm surprised you didn't say Jeff McNeil, Josh. I want to hear your.
Well, I thought we were doing like gold, silver, bronze. Are we doing like 3 tiers or what?
I mean, I did come prepared with. I'm like not prepared with 3 tiers, but I have like 3 tiers in mind.
Yeah, I could do 3 tiers.
Yeah,
take us through your thought process on your answer. That's good.
For me, with Brandon Nimmo, and I want Jim to chime in afterwards, but you talked about it earlier, Jared, but the highlight reel plays in defense, in center field, Turner, and a handful of others that like I can't remember right now, but they all stick out in a very, very distinct way, despite the fact I can't remember them, which is kind of funny. And he's just taken such strides as a player that I really want to reward him for it the most by giving him the Gold Glove. Is he the best defensive player on the team? No. But God, he played so well this year. His burst, his speed, his quickness, everything was just the best it's ever been. So I love Brandon.
We all do.
Yeah, basically the same thing. He's just the range that he has in center field now is just I don't know. It feels like he like kind of owned it too, because when he came into the league, he was kind of like not a power hitter, but he was a guy who could drive the ball. He still is a guy who could drive the ball into the gaps, but he wasn't really known for his speed. And he just since he's been switching over to center field, it's like he's just been working on it, and it just showed this season especially.
So who were you guys also considering besides Brandon Nimmo?
So my silver is Luis Guillorme. He's the only thing that stopped me from putting him first is he's a man without a country. He doesn't have one position, which isn't a bad thing. It's actually really great for the Mets versatility wise. But when you don't have one spot consistent enough, it's just like it's tough to give him the Gold Glove when he's not out there every day. Add on top that he'll play 102 games this year, where Nimmo played 151, and for Nimmo to do all in center field, which is one of the hardest positions to play, and Luis barely played shortstop, which I would say is the hardest infield position to play. I just had to give Luis, second.
Yeah, for me, I guess my silver, I would definitely go Guillorme too. Not just to copy off you, but everything you said was perfectly said right. Just his versatility and the highlight plays that he has. He's Louis. His walk-up song too is just so gas.
Louis. Yeah, I mean, I chose Guillorme. I mean, you are right. He wasn't healthy the whole year. He was in a bunch of different spots. He's definitely a utility guy, but I mean, you knew wherever he was going to perform, and he was going to make some kind of sick throw where he's like his chest is like, and his body like he's like at a 90-degree angle, and he's like throwing the ball like charging it and like throwing it almost underhand. That was like perfect pass, like right to the first baseman. Like crazy stuff with the glove. I mean, him and Lindor were so fun to watch when he was playing second, Lindor was playing third, and shortstop. And when Escobar was down and Guillorme was playing third, like like he could handle that corner super well, and just like the consistency he had wherever he was. I mean, and also I'm definitely a little biased. I'm definitely Luis Guillorme is the reincarnate of Babe Ruth. It's not a secret. Everyone knows it. And the beard too. Which he actually shaved this year. Like I kind of did mine to change up the
Was this your
mojo.
tribute? Was this your tribute to Luis?
It's not a tribute, but we kind of did it for the same reasons. He was just like, I need to change something up, and not that things, he was doing it because he couldn't hit. I'm fine.
Right.
My life's
Yeah.
good, but I need to change it up. I was a little bored looking at myself every day with the same kind of beard on. So
You've made a different kind of tribute to Luis from what I've heard. So
yeah, I did. You can't see it because it's actually in that little closet back there, but there's a giant shrine with a giant life-size thing of Luis Guillorme in there. And some
it's just
candles
Luis
and whatnot.
Guillorme. He's like, please let me out.
Yeah, he's actually in there chaining my He hasn't seen his family.
No, you're a plushie. You're a plushie, Luis. What are you talking about?
Sorry, Louise. You can't leave for another 110 days, 4 hours and 37 minutes and 7 seconds. That's when you can go to Florida. But I guess the other people I'm thinking of was Jeff McNeil. He'd probably have to be my silver. Left field, making highlight electric plays. Second base, always very sure-handed. One play in particular that really sticks out in my mind, in one game I was there against the Phillies, one of the few games we lost. We were in a bases loaded jam with 2 outs. I forget who it was, hit like a bloop single right over Jeff's head, and he like full out leaped, full body extension, like floating in the air, and made like a snow cone type of grab. And he's always been that type of player. So he would have also been in Gold Glove contention, but I'll give him the silver. And Thomas Nido, he got a Gold Glove nomination, and the likes of who else was in it? JT Realmuto and the other like really good catcher. I forget his name.
Not Yachty. Jesus.
Well, Yachty. It was
Will Smith.
Maybe it might have been Will Smith, but like for Thomas Nido to be in that category, or just be in the same kind of space as those guys, I mean, that's really impressive. And I'm definitely a little biased towards Nido too, but you got to give
Travis d'Arnaud.
But honestly, what'd you say?
Is the third. Travis d'Arnaud is the third.
Travis d'Arnaud. Okay. So I mean, the
man.
NL East literally has the 3 best defensive catchers.
I don't want to hear any more about Travis d'Arnaud.
Good, Matt.
Justin Turner, like literally Justin Turner.
He's dead to me.
Well, Turner didn't do anything as a Met, so that doesn't hurt me as much.
Yeah, but neither did d'Arnaud really. He's just like, I mean,
he had like 3 home runs. He had like 3 home runs. He just couldn't stay healthy.
Let's not do this. Let's not do this.
And now he's healthy.
I don't want to talk about Travis d'Arnaud.
And he learned how to hit. His swing is much simpler now, and it's much more effective. All right, so we did everything except the last 2. Cy Young.
Yeah, 3, right?
3. No.
Best homegrown Met.
Best homegrown. That was a category.
I thought it was.
I mean, I'll do it. Sure. Best homegrown. I mean, I know.
Am I missing things?
I don't see it on the Google sheet.
Oh, all right.
You just said Caddyshack stinks, which is a hot take. I mean,
it's just the correct one, but that's
it's not.
Jimmy, have you seen Caddyshack?
No.
Yeah, don't waste your time.
Watch it, and then you could be the tiebreaker.
Stupidest word ever seen.
I can't even do it. Movie. It's supposed to be.
What's it on?
I don't know. Pilot
HBO?
shit. I don't know.
It's supposed to be dumb. It's like Airplane.
Airplane's smart. Okay, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this right now. But Airplane is smart in the way it's written. It's clever. Caddyshack is just these 5 people just like making stuff up as they go, and it's awful. God damn it.
All right. Kind of like this show. 3 guys making stuff up as they go. We could do best homegrown. I mean, who did you have in mind?
So I went with Pete Alonso. What more can I say about my beloved Big Meat Pete? We'll talk about who my MVP was, but Pete was the best player on this team this season. Why I say that is obviously, pretty obvious. But I want to explore the underrated parts of Pete this season. So I did a little deep dive before the show. His 18.7 strikeout percentage is the best of his career and a whole 8% points lower than it was in 2019.
Wow.
His ISO, hard hit percentage, and home run percentage were either where they were last year or lower, and yet he still hit 40 home runs.
Wow.
He's become the sort of hitter that doesn't need to really destroy the ball anymore to just get to what he wants. He's just become so relaxed and so comfortable. He can just hit him without even at his best theoretically. One final thing about Pete. He had 122 ABs down 0-2 in a count this season. He had 144 of those at bat. He had 144 at bats down 0-2 in a count in 2019. So he is minus that drastically and gotten himself out of the holes that he could have been in. He's the captain, the spirit animal, and the hero this team needs.
Ooh, he is not the captain yet, though.
He should be. I mean, I'll just say it.
He should be. I agree 100% with everything you just said. Pete is every team has a foundation, and Pete Alonso is the foundation. You take him off this team, and this team is going to be nowhere where it is. Even my dog agrees. He said, dude, you can't take Pete Alonso off the Mets. He's a career Met for life. So, and we might get into that later, an extension for him this offseason. But Pete Alonso, he's the guy.
So we're still doing best homegrown.
Yeah, you can just be quick. I know you can come prepped. That's my bad.
You guys just both said Pete. I don't want to be boring.
Tomas Nido.
Nah. We're gonna go Jeff. We're gonna go Squirrel. I mean, the type of year he had and winning the batting title and getting named to a second All-Star game, and also just really committing to himself and knowing hey, this is the type of baseball player I'm going to be and taking pride in it. Being okay with not hitting, a lot of home runs. Just, being crafty and just being a real competitor. And yeah, I'm going to go with Jeff. All right. So Cy Young, best pitcher on the Mets staff this year. Scherzer, Chris Bassett, Edwin Diaz. Awesome. Plenty.
Wow.
Wait, James, you go Scherzer again?
No, I went Scherzer.
Oh, you did. Bassett. Oh, Josh. Okay, good. Okay.
Whoa.
I was about to say, okay.
I got to hear this Bassett explanation.
I guess I'll start off with Chris Bassett. I guess what I'm going to say about him is although he did get shelled in his most important starts, just like a lot of the Mets, at the end of the day, the year that he put together is what we all really, I think, were asking for. 3.42 ERA, and he went 15-9. And he didn't get hurt, which is something that a lot of Mets pitchers did this season. A lot of Mets pitchers missed starts. He didn't miss starts. He started 30 games for us this year. So that's what factored into me giving Bassett the Cy Young over Scherzer or, I was really leaning on Diaz. I really was. But, it's just, I didn't want to give it to Diaz because I didn't want to put him in this award, and I was going to save him for another award later, so I went with Bassett.
Oh, I wonder what it could be with one award left.
All right. I guess I'll go Diaz then if we're on the topic of him. I mean, dude, the man was just unhittable. And obviously he doesn't have the exact inning count that you would like to see in a Cy Young winner. But there were definitely conversations thrown around hey, maybe a relief pitcher can win the Cy Young this year. And they're talking about Edwin Diaz. He was just that lockdown, that lights out. His slider was unhittable. His fastball was overpowering. He really just put it all together this season. And it's going to be, I hope they re-sign him because the Mets need a guy like him. But who knows if he can replicate the type of year that he had. Hopefully he can. I mean, just to see how he built himself up, literally being from rock bottom in New York and being able to have the dominant year that he did. I mean, yeah, he's got to be a Cy Young because you knew when he was going up there, there was no hits. You had all the confidence in the world that the other team was just going to strike out or ground out and go home. And no other pitcher on this staff made you feel that way except for him. So that's why I chose Edwin Diaz.
So I know Scherzer created at the end, but I want to remind us of some things. He's 37 years old. He went 11-5 with a 2.29 ERA through 23 starts. His 173 strikeouts led the team despite having 40 fewer innings than Bassett. He had 13 starts in which he allowed 1 run or fewer. So be upset, be mad, be besought with grief with Scherzer. I don't blame you. I'm kind of there too. But he was the man for a vast majority of the season, and especially he did all that carrying the weight of the rotation on his shoulders. There was no DeGrom. It was all on him, I would say, for the most part. A little bit of Bassett and Walker, but Max was the guy. And I think even though he went down with, I think, that injury for 5 weeks, to do what he did at this age, to earn the contract and everything like that, just phenomenal.
You say Bassett?
Yeah, but you're besought by grief, besought, whatever. You know, like the word beseeched.
Yeah.
I'm beseeched and besought, you know.
Oh, okay.
Little past tense there.
Nice.
Yeah,
You learn something new every day.
A little bit of that.
Learn something new every day. All right, the big one, the big final one, the most valuable player award, the New York Mets MVP. Whoa, oh, I like it. We all have different people. Wow, why does Pete look so angry? He's so not that type of guy.
He has what I have, which is just called resting pissed off face, where you're just looking like straight blankly and you just look angry. Like,
You mean resting bitch face?
yeah, but I feel like that has such like a negative connotation that like you just look pissed off. I don't know. I would need to throw that word in there.
One's
but,
just more like concise than the other one, but
Yeah.
it pretty much means.
Well,
the
come on,
same
culture.
thing.
Let's not single someone out. You know, that's what I'm saying. Let's not single a gender out here because you're a little mad.
Hey, guys can be bitches. It's fine.
Well, I know more guys who are bitches than females.
All right. So who wants to go? Okay, who had? Okay, Josh had Jeff McNeil, of course. I had Pete Alonso and James Edwin Diaz, as he kind of just gave away before. I forget who went first last time. I think it was James. So
I think
James.
I go last. I went first.
I'll go first. I'll go first. I'll get Pete out of the way because you guys kind of talked about Pete a lot already for best homegrown. I mean, yeah, you said it. Pete's that dude. He's that guy. He's him. The type of year he had, I mean, he was our offense for huge stretches. He really, even though in September we couldn't end up winning the division in that month of September, besides Escobar, you know, it was Pete. Pete was really driving that offense. I mean, 130 plus RBIs, another all-star appearance. But stats aside, I mean, we almost lost Pete Alonso. He almost died.
Mm-hmm.
He got into a car accident. He got T-boned. And somehow he survived. And people that kind of got out of the media narrative about this team and about Pete in general, which was pretty surprising. I mean, he lived and he was able to play again. So I guess there was nothing tragic about it, but it definitely still affects him. He wrote a very nice piece in the Player Tribune about it. And I know we talked about that in a really early show, but I don't know, the fact that we almost lost him, and the type of year he had after all that happened, just the great person he is and what he's, I mean, the LFGM, like that's Pete Alonso. He is just like, yeah, it's just, he's really learned how to be more disciplined at the plate. He's not a hack. Like he does his best hitting when he just tries to hit the ball, not try to hit home runs. It's got to be the polar bear. He's the face of the Mets. And yeah, he should be the captain if we're going to do that in the next couple of years in general. But yeah, Pete's the MVP. This team
who pulled Pete out of the wreckage?
What's up?
You know who pulled Pete out of the wreckage of that fire?
His wife, right?
No, James McCann was in full catcher gear, and he went through the flames, and he said, "You're not dying today, son," and pulled him out.
And you just want to ship him off to save some money?
Hey, you know, I should have put him as MVP, honestly, because he saved Pete Alonso's life. That's entirely fictional. I hope the audience doesn't think I'm being serious about this, but like, could you imagine James McCann in full catcher gear just started pulling people out of burning cars? It'd be awesome.
He like flies out of the sky.
Super McCann.
Super McCann. All right. Yeah, once again, I guess I forget who was going next.
I'll just go because we know Jimmy's going with So I picked Jeff McNeil for, I'm biased. He's the best. He's my favorite guy on the team. I love him the most. He's cute. He's
I like these props today.
Yeah, they're good.
I like these props.
But I'm just going to list out some accomplishments here. He's the best hitter, first in B WAR, doubles in OBP, second in F WAR, OPS and OPS plus, fourth most runs scored, despite batting fifth, sixth, or eighth, 65.5% of the time, and fourth in total bases, having 9 home runs. All while playing second, left, or right with ease and grace. Jeff McNeil for president.
Ease and grace. I like it.
I'm all for McNeil for president. He's got my vote. Are we echoing?
Yeah, I was going to say, but.
Are you?
Oh, no. Hold on, I got an idea.
Oh.
Oh,
back.
hey.
Oh, we're still echoing. Shit.
Yeah.
Are we?
I am. Hopefully on the upload we're not. But yeah, I went with Diaz because I just think the importance of him having a guy at the back end just to lock down games for you is so important. And you said it, Jared, he might win the Cy Young, but he's gonna get some votes for the Cy Young award. So I think he's my MVP, not just because of that, just because of the importance of having a guy that can lock down games and be that dominant and strike out over 50% of the batters that he faces.
I mean, he had one blown save in like May, right? That was it. I can't even think of another time he had.
You know who had no blown saves? Jeff McNeil.
That's factual. That is who else in it? Pete Alonso. You know who had 2 shutout innings in relief, or was it maybe 1?
3. It was 3.
No. Darren Ruff.
Oh yeah, you're right. My bad.
Wow. So Darren Ruff didn't make any of our team awards.
Oh, I had him. I had him as 1.
Is it a mean
Most
award?
likely to be DFA'd.
Oh.
Yeah. Congrats, Darren. You're gonna take home that trophy.
I wonder what he thinks being like, just like he's been through the league so long, and then he's got to hear some like a couple punks who, just
it's more than a couple. It's way more than a couple.
Just shit on him like mercilessly. He's got to tune it out. I don't know. But those are our season awards. I guess some takeaways from them. I mean, yeah, there wasn't too much overlap. I think we didn't have ones where we all thought the same guy.
Yeah, no unanimous.
Yeah, no unanimous selections. And I think that's pretty cool. And I think it shows, how we all bring a little bit of something to the show, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah. None of you guys picked Luis Guillorme. Damn.
I'm gonna cry about it.
Yeah, I'm a little upset at you guys about that, but it's whatever. We don't need you guys.
We'll wrap it up with the Alonso and McNeil.
Yeah.
Little extension.
Yeah, why not? Because we have we
could save the Would You Rathers.
Oh yeah, we could save
those for the next episode. Yeah,
because we still have 100. We still have a World Series before free agency starts. So it's good that we're doing research now and talking about it and forming some ideas. But yeah, let's do. So the Mets have a lot of homegrown talent. Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso, in particular, because they're still under contract technically. But what do you guys think of an extension for Alonso or Jeff McNeil?
You know the little like Belvita commercial with the little girl where she goes, "Why not both?" That's how I feel about the Mets and what they should do with Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso. Just re-sign them both.
In the commercial, what's she talking about when she means both?
I think it's like real cheese or fake cheese, and she's like, "Why not both?" It's what I think it is. So the weird thing with Jeff is he's going to be 33 when he hits free agency, as of this moment. So he will be a super old free agent. That said, it's a benefit to the Mets because I think they could sign him to like a 4-year extension, which isn't that much. It's not a long-term deal. That gets him to 37, 38. And then you just go from there, I think. He can't reasonably demand more than I would say like 17.5 million. I would say around there, maybe even a little bit less. He's just a proven dude, the best success story for your development team. Reward him. I mean, he's a batting champion. Let's get this done. Come on.
Amen. Jimmy, thoughts?
You're muted, Jimmy.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said about Jeff. And that one point you brought up, you know, when he is going to be a free agent, he's going to be a little bit older. And the same thing is for Pete. So Pete, he's 27 right now. So I feel like if you could extend him, you know, it's perfect time to get one. He's not going to need a 10-year deal. I don't think Pete Alonso is going to be asking for a 10-year extension. So I think that's the perfect part of it. So I think if you give Pete Alonso, you know, 6, even 8 years, he's here till he's 35 years old. And, you know, we're talking about being the captain. I think you give him an 8-year extension. And like you just said, Josh, you know, your homegrown players, you know, you keep them here, you know, especially when they're that good. You know, the Yankees, I'm not sure if they're going to be bringing back Judge, but they should because he's a homegrown guy and he's important. And you bring back homegrown guys because you want to show, you know, your prospects coming up, the Brett Beattys, that you have a chance, if you perform well, to get money, get paid, and stay here. And I think by giving Alonso and McNeil the extensions that they deserve this offseason, one would be smart financially and long-term for the Mets. And, you know, it just shows the not only the Mets fan base, but the Mets organization as a whole that, you know, it's a new tide in this Mets world.
Yeah. 100%, Jimmy. Like the Wilpons did not. They were very hesitant to give people like this, or give players extensions. Zach Wheeler was one of them. I guess I'm trying to think who else. There were a lot of guys and a lot of hesitancy to kind of give money to guys like that. And the Wilpons
almost lost David Wright.
To go. They didn't do David Wright.
No, we almost lost him. They were kind of being a little cheap with him back in the old days. In his last extension when he was younger, they were being pretty cheap with him. Even Jose Reyes, they let him walk after a couple.
Yeah, he won a batting title.
Years. Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not gonna be that guy. I mean, yeah, we should keep Alonso and McNeil. I mean, Alonso's our team MVP and Jeff McNeil does so much for us. And I mean, yeah, he's the best hitter on the team, just like best pure hitter, contact guy. And the reason why getting these guys wrapped up so soon is so important is because it's just good business. It's good business. You know, it's good baseball business. I mean, you're going to look at our division rivals, the Atlanta Braves. This year alone, they gave Austin Riley an arbitration extension. He was drafted. He was a homegrown guy. Matt Olson, who they even traded for, but he got an extension. Ronald Acuna got an extension before he reached arbitration. Spencer Strider got an extension before he reached arbitration. Michael Harris, Ozzie Albies. So, and I'm sure Von Grissom's going to get the same thing, and a bunch of Kyle Wright maybe. They're all still pre-arbitration, but I mean, they're locking down the guys they want to get. I mean, even Travis d'Arnaud got an extension for 2 years. So, like, they're locking down their core. We got to do the same thing. Like, how else are you supposed to build something successful? I mean, if you don't keep those same guys around that kind of create a culture. I mean, think about the Astros. Like, they lost Correa, but they've kept Bregman, and they've kept Altuve. They've kept Verlander. Who else has been there the whole time they've been winning?
Bregman. Oh, you already said that guy.
Jordan, well, last 4 years he's been there.
So like,
But they've won so many years.
These good teams are keeping the guys that help them win. I mean, if Atlanta's doing that, they just won a World Series. They're the team to beat in the division, and they're doing that. They're doing something right. So I don't understand why we would do something different than them. And just keeping the good players, not only good players, but good people for the organization, leaders around. It can't hurt. And I'm sure once free agency gets resolved and we deal with, the DeGrom situation, the Nimmo situation, the Diaz situation, figure out our bullpen, and whether or not we want to keep the other three guys in our rotation or maybe a couple of them, because they all have options this year. Bassett, Walker, and Carrasco. It's actually crazy, the business that we got to do this year. So there's going to be a lot more shows. But, I mean, these guys, these two in the bottom, I guess, right of my screen, maybe left of yours. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to display. It's probably going to be the exact same, but keep them. Please keep them around. And
it's not even that they deserve it too. It's like, let's just get rid of like the narrative or like the stress they might have about like, oh man, I got to play for a contract in 2 years. Let's just get it out of the way. Like they've far past earned it. Get it. There's just no point. They got 2 more years of arbitration. Is it really worth paying them? Like,
yeah, just let them know, like, we want you. Let's get too cute and fuck up business shit like this all the time. And we didn't get into the DeGrom situation, and we will, but we have a long history of letting great pitchers walk. But we'll get to that at a different show, because it'll go on for a long time. But yeah, I mean, it's just like the guys we want, let's keep them around. Let's keep them around, because I don't want to see Jeff in another uniform. It's crazy. We almost want to trade him at the beginning of the year.
I would end my life if that happens.
No, you probably
Career.
just like a Red Sox fan or something.
Yeah, I mean, I was for like the first like 12 years of my life, so yeah, I could go back.
You're an idiot for leaving, dude.
You
might.
Yeah.
You opened the door for pain, dude.
Well, I think every team or every fan should have like an AL and NL team or like an AFC, NFC team. It's okay. I think everyone could have it.
I hate everybody except for my own teams. It's preposterous.
That's just weird. That's odd.
No, I live to hate.
That's odd.
Like
the
New York
only
Giants.
I really liked as the NBA.
What about the NBA?
The only like team I'm really like that is with the NBA. Like I'm okay with liking other teams in the NBA besides the Knicks.
I would hope so, because you need some joy in that sport.
Yeah.
Oh, the NBA is a little easier too, because it's so like personality driven, so individual player driven. I feel like it's less of a team driven sport. Like you could just root for guys, But anyway,
can I sing one little lullaby before we go?
Sure. Let me go to sleep peacefully tonight.
Well, I won't sing it. I'll just say it. But this is a message.
Wait, you're not going to sing it?
Nah, my voice is not that great.
I don't really want to hear it if you're not going to sing it.
All right, well. This is to Jeff McNeil and Pete Alonso from Bob Dylan's I Want You. Now your dancing child with his shiny suit. He spoke to me. I took his flute. No, I wasn't very cute to him, was I? But I did it because he lied and because he took you for a ride. Because time was on his side and because I want you. I want you. Yes, I want you so bad. Honey, I want you. I want you, Jeff and Pete. Come on, stick around in Flushing.
You should have sang that, dude.
No, I can't do it like Bob can. Bob just
can we clip the I want you. I want you. I want you.
That'll be on the TikTok.
All right, great. Well, Bob Dylan and Mets. I love when they mesh.
All right. Any famous last words, Jimmy? Josh has already said enough.
LFGM and let's go Astros.
Mets fans for Astros? No, but yeah, thanks for tuning in the Mets way. We got a lot more offseason content to come your way. Because the Mets got a lot of work to do. So we won't be going away anytime soon. Thanks for tuning in.